Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and this is...
Autumn Garibay.
And this is...
Logan Garibay.
And today we're going to talk about Andrew Yang and the politics of Onward, the Disney Plus movie that just dropped today. Logan's got a note first.
Oh, yeah. So, spoiler warning. We've all watched Onward, and if you haven't seen it, we strongly suggest you watch it, but there will be spoilers ahead, so don't watch it if you haven't seen it. But if you don't have Disney Plus and you don't really care, feel free.
Anything before we get started? Any other admin stuff before we go? We ready to go?
Let's get started.
All right, yeah. Okay, actually, let's start with your idea first. Hit it.
Yeah. So, as Logan said, great movie. I suggest it to everyone. And I picked up a lot of different themes from this, but particularly to connect to Andrew Yang, I think the first and most clear one I got was the importance of nonverbal communication. So, in Onward, it's about two young men trying to resurrect their dad to see him for one day, one last time. But when they resurrect him with magic, it only half works, and he's resurrected first from the feet to the waist. So they are going through this crazy journey with their dad's legs. But because of that, their dad doesn't have the faculties that comes with a face or hands. He can't see or hear.
Or vocalize.
Yeah. But they still communicate with him. And the two sons, Ian, who is 16, and
Barley.
Who is an adult and is Ian's older brother. And they communicate with him very differently. Barley is... He has this cool thing where he'll, like, tap on his dad's foot, like, rhythmically to let him know it's him, and he loves him, and that's how he communicates with him.
His dad was named Wilden Lightfoot. Go right ahead.
Yes. And as opposed to Ian, who I think throughout the whole movie is very obsessed with the practical nature of how are we going to get there and how are we going to do this. So he puts a leash through his dad's belt loop and he tugs on him to get him wherever he wants to go. It's, to me, I am very conscious of nonverbal people and communication. Me and my sister learned sign language, so but he couldn't even do that. He didn't have hands. And I think it's definitely something that should be addressed in politics. It came up in a debate, I believe, just how a president could help people with disabilities. And in this movie, it was definitely a question of how do they help their dads without all the faculties they're used to. But also, how did their dad communicate with them? Because he absolutely did.
So, the dancing. So, basically, there was this point where Ian and Barley are fighting, and the dad just gets out and dances, and he interrupts their fight with his, like, zany, spirited interaction with them, which was fantastic.
Yeah. And I think that the politicians we're talking about, especially Andrew Yang, can do the same thing. Realize the importance and the capability of nonverbal communication, because you can say whatever you want with your mouth, but everything else, from your feet to just really importantly your actions, will say maybe the same thing, maybe a different thing, but they say something, and that is important.
One of the other things, so Andrew Yang already understands this principle, and I think he just needs to do it more.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember what one of the biggest, most noticeable nonverbal communications that Andrew Yang did through the elections at all? It was really kind of subtle, but no tie. He wore no tie. He was known for it, and it seems like a small thing. It wasn't. He was saying, "I'm casual. I'm breaking the rules. I'm going, further." He should have went a lot further. He should have been wearing like a hoodie and Nike SBs, the way I said 6 months ago. But anyway,
and that was shown in Onward as well.
Yeah.
A big part of their dad's character that they could see, even from his legs, was that he wore zany purple socks. So even before he was dancing around, by his very clothing, just like Andrew Yang, he already exuded character just from his clothes.
That's a fantastic point. Logan, what were some of your thoughts about the film?
This is like near the end, but Ian, the younger. Have we gone over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I'll give him. I'll give him right now.
magical
Do you
Ian.
want to do the characters?
Here, okay. So, first there's I'm gonna start logic wise. The main family. There's the mom.
Lori.
Okay, Lori. Sorry, I can't.
No,
I'm
you're good.
having trouble reading. Ian. And
The younger brother.
The younger brother. He's like age 16ish. And
Do you want to describe him a little bit?
yeah. So, he has like curly hair. All of them are like elfish things.
Yes, I think they were elves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And he was the main magic user. He could actually use magic, which he used to summon his dad for the spell. And then Barley, who cannot use magic and is about 18-year-old, 19.
Maybe
and
20 or you're absolutely right.
around
Yeah.
above-
Adult age, no longer in high school.
Yeah,
college
graduating
age
from
maybe. Yeah.
high school. And Barley, most people thinks he's kind of like a failure or a screw up,
Yes.
but and he's a squib, which not
Yeah.
Can you
No.
define that?
Yeah. Go ahead. Just
Non-mag-
explain what.
like non-magic
exactly.
user, like a muggle or something.
Right. That's exactly. Actually, a squib is specific. A squib is a Harry Potter term, and it is someone who was born into a magic family who literally cannot use magic. Yeah. All right. Thank you for going over those. So, what was your thoughts on the film?
Personally, I really liked it. I thought there was a really strong, like father figure, kind of topic around it. And also another thing were like brother relationships. That was another thing.
So I'm going to pose some questions. So Andrew Yang, I believe he was for Universal Universal, what's the word?
Preschool?
Yes, exactly. So I feel, and also Andrew Yang did talk about parents and parenting children. He said that the kids are not all right, and he got into this in a major way. I, as a father, was pretty offended by the main core message of this movie. And so I want to ask you guys, so Andrew Yang, he was saying that overall parents were not doing a great job. This movie, I thought, said very, very clearly that fathers are unnecessary. Because the boys were both fine without their dad. And in addition to that, even when their dad came back, he literally could not vocalize. He was just there. He never said anything to them in any real way, and the kids were just fine. Like, so what's your thoughts on that? Do you agree that that was a message that Disney was bringing, which would echo Andrew Yang's message that parents are not doing a great job with their kids right now? Well, go ahead, Logan.
Go first,
yeah.
Bud.
So another thing on they're fine with no father. It was pretty clear that they both were hurt from it.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah, that's true. Ian didn't have courage.
Yeah.
You got a good point. But Barley was epic. Barley was like perfect.
Yeah, but another thing
But
was...
Ian was screwed up. You got a good point there.
But, yeah, and even in Barley, like he said, oh, I have no fear. But, like, that would still affect something.
That could be a problem.
That could be a problem.
Yeah, you got a great point.
Which it's kind of proved it did. Because his mom said she was super reckless. So that could be another thing. That could be the reason why he was a failure.
You win this conversation. You have defeated me with your point.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I'll also respond to that. I'll put a bit of a asterisk on your point of fathers are unnecessary. I think that this movie and a lot of times Disney in general says that biological parents are unnecessary. They, his father, so the way the family worked in this was the biological mom and dad
They're
first had,
very engaged with them.
First had Barley. Then she was pregnant with Ian, and the father got sick and died. So Barley had a few youthful memories of his dad. Ian had never even met him, which it's almost a trend in Disney movies that protagonists have one or multiple parents that are not alive. And in this, they also had a stepfather. Their mother was dating a police officer. And while he was, I did want to note that he is not evil like the evil stepmother, but was an antagonist. And we could also discuss the political implications of not viewing all antagonists as evil. But
wait, who do you think is the antagonist? The
Colt.
boyfriend? Colt, the boyfriend, right?
Yes.
Yes, go right ahead.
Their stepfather.
Yeah.
So they had multiple father figures in their life. Colt Bronco, and for Ian, his older brother, Bentley. Barley, yeah. So, and this was also something that I related to, because while it was discussing brothers, I, like Ian, am I'm the second Garibay child.
Yeah, that's
so,
true. You have an older brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I add something? So, another thing was, at the end of the movie, I know I'm talking about a lot at the end of the movie, but Ian, specifically, he had a checklist, and he was running through them to see what he did with his dad, and he was really sad because he couldn't do anything because they didn't get the spell right. This was before the ending, like right before. But he remembered that his brother carried all of those traits, which was kind of neat. But you realize something, he did not realize Colt as any of those.
Right.
Not even a thought popped into his mind.
Head.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Maybe Colt Bronco,
Yeah.
Officer Colt Bronco, is not as much of a father figure, but that was part of. So I do get that as a dad, it's discouraging to think that maybe you're unnecessary, but I think it is an important message to many non-traditional families that it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and
They
if
can
you're
still be
in
good
that
people.
situation, the movie could give you hope that you can still have some of the same attributes if your dad was there.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
And to also be fair to your point, their dad, in the only thing he did vocalize to his sons was that he was proud of them. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna fast forward 1 year from now. Andrew Yang unsuspends, defeats Joe Biden, gets the nomination, becomes president. We're now in April. We're now in April of 2020. Okay. Is it right or wrong for Andrew Yang to make a law that Disney is not allowed by law to make a movie with a dead parent until they've made 3 movies without a dead parent? I think this is a really important law that America desperately needs. Should Andrew Yang put that law into effect or veto that law?
So someone else is proposing this law.
I'm proposing this law. I propose it to whoever the governor of Pennsylvania is. The governor brings it up to the senator. Senator proposes it. Does Andrew Yang veto this or not? And it gets passed. Should Andrew Yang veto or allow the law to go through?
Veto.
What? Okay.
To be fair, so Disney, you're very right. Traditionally, Disney movies have a whole long list of orphan protagonists. Disney parents are not in a good boat. You will probably end up sick.
Before the movie even starts, you could be dead. Oh, God, yeah.
So, however, I would encourage you to watch any sitcom or there are a million other shows. I would bet to that 3-to-1 ratio with that are portraying parents.
Oh, I bet you're going to have a hard time finding that to be true. But, all right, what do you think? Veto or let it pass through?
It's very unrealistic. I don't think it really matters, so veto.
All right, let me jump into what I saw in the film. So, this film had a powerful message about analogy to Andrew Yang and the 10% voter and the 51% voter. So let's hit it. All right. So, actually, yes, yeah. So yeah. Ian and Barley are perfectly illustrate why Andrew Yang lost. The 51% voter is Ian. He has the power, but he doesn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
He has the power, and then he knows it, and he still doesn't even care. He doesn't use it. He doesn't practice it. He doesn't do it right. He hasn't prepared to use it. He hasn't done any research, right? Perfect example of the 51% voter. In addition to that, Ian is the absolute worst. He has the power, complains constantly, doesn't believe anything can change or believe in a magical solution, right? Barley is yippee-ki-yangs. We know the solution. We know more than anybody else about politics. We know exactly what should be done, and no one listens to us. And everybody thinks we're just off in la-la land, and what we say don't matter. Exactly like Barley, even though Barley was epic, smarter than everybody else, knew the solution, all of that. But the reason Andrew Yang lost was Barley only represents 10% of the voters at best. And that's why we got 0 delegates, and that's why Andrew Yang got discouraged and dropped out. But he needs to realize right now, but now is the perfect time to unsuspend. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Can I?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. So I absolutely got the same message from this. Yang and Yang supporters are absolutely Barley. I would, if I may say, Biden and Biden supporters are absolutely Ian, and particularly with that magic, not on magic dynamic. For the majority of the film, Barley played a backseat role, just helping his brother learn the magic,
Yep.
being the Watson to his Sherlock.
Yep. Good analogy.
But yeah, but at the very end, it flips, and they're both trying to resurrect their dad, and Ian goes to
oh my gosh, you're right.
goes to fight a dragon so that Barley, his older brother, can have that final moment in the sun that they've all been working toward. So right now we're in this crazy time where Andrew Yang stepped down and supported Biden, and it seems crazy, but I do think that in the face of something big and crazy like a dragon, that role will be reversed, and Yang will have his moment in the sun, right?
It's 100% correct. So we're calling to you, if there's any 51% voters in the crowd here, please understand that Biden is not a solution for America. Andrew Yang is a solution for America, and we need to give him his due, and Biden needs to be shoved to the back, right? Requested to drop out of this race, because he's got no business in it now, right? Especially because the reality is he cannot do the job. He cannot go see international leaders. He can't internationally travel. He can't do anything outside of a bubble because he's the most susceptible type of person to corona, pretty much, right? So he's got he needs to focus on remaining alive, let alone running for president, right? And because this is a thing. CDC has said elderly people are highly susceptible to this, or are more susceptible than younger people. That's a fact. Like, that's CDC has already declared that, right? Andrew Yang has to come forward, unsuspend, and hope that 51% can do exactly what Ian did and see the light and say, we were wrong all along, and the yippee-ki-yangs were right. And we need to get the guy who every other politician is now stealing ideas from, right? We need this to happen. So I really think we need to understand. What do you think?
Well, what's your take?
I don't really have a strong answer for this.
That's
we'll
okay.
take a weak one.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. So actually, those are our thoughts on Onward. Strong analogies to Andrew Yang in this film. Any last thoughts on Onward before we break? Autumn?
Just fantastic movie. I'm always a huge fan of animation, and I've always seen the parallels to adult life. So thank you for this video and having us unpack them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really excited because if this movie was like all packed about like politics and stuff, then like Soul, that's gonna be even like crazier.
Yes.
So I'm excited for that.
Last thing, this movie Onward was a Corona miracle. We got to see it because of coronavirus. Guess what? Our next Corona miracle is going to be Andrew Yang unsuspending. Corona should be the exact same reason. Corona is the reason for Andrew Yang to suspend. He was being respectful. He was giving Biden his due. That time's over. Please, Andrew Yang, unsuspend. Let's do this. And let's move onward. A third of that is my opinion. A third of that is her opinion. A third of that is his opinion. And we would really like you to like and subscribe. And please have a wonderful millennium.